During the City Council debate on a controversial immigration bill, a simple question was asked. Who does this bill help? No one answered. Not the bill's sponsor, not its supporters. The silence was telling because the answer indeed is no one. This bill does not help our taxpayers. It doesn't help our healthcare workers, our nonprofits, our first responders, or our neighborhoods. This bill is not rooted in the common good. It is political theater disguised as fiscal oversight. Most importantly, this bill puts our city's legal standing, public safety, public health, and economy in jeopardy. Here are all the reasons why I am vetoing Ordinance 2025-138-E. First, it creates legal risk and makes our city a target for constitutional challenges and costly lawsuits. Immigration is the domain of the federal government, not local government. Yet here we are, facing another bill that takes Jacksonville way out of our lane. This bill places us in the difficult position of asking healthcare providers and nonprofits to determine immigration status, which is neither their role nor their expertise. The bill also creates a discriminatory scenario where a person may be able to access services at one institution, but not another. Imagine being able to receive services at one hospital, but being turned away at another down the road. Second, this ordinance compromises public health and public safety. Nearly 120,000 Jacksonville residents are foreign-born. Most of them are naturalized citizens. This bill, in the guise of targeting undocumented immigrants, stokes fear and casts a shadow of suspicion over all immigrants. It chills access to critical social services by subjecting anyone perceived as an immigrant to be screened by local agencies untrained to verify their status, a definition that now seemingly changes by the day. Let me be as clear as I can about this. When families fear calling the police or the fire department, we are less safe. When people delay medical care out of fear, costs rise for everybody. When shadows are created, that is where danger and disease thrive. This bill does not save money. It multiplies harm. Here's what makes our community safer and healthier, while saving taxpayer dollars. Our efforts to build trust between people and city government. Our investments over the past 2 years to put more officers on the streets, build more fire stations, and give needed salary raises to our first responders. Our programs to get more people signed up for health insurance and provide care pathways for those who don't have it. Third, this bill hurts our local economy. The chilling effect extends beyond public health and safety. Immigrants continue to contribute to our economy. They pay taxes. They work hard. They invest in our city. They are entrepreneurs. They are raising U.S.-born children. When immigrants stay home, we lose valuable parts of our workforce. Local small businesses suffer and sales tax revenues decline. Fourth, the bill invents a problem and offers a false solution to sow fear and division. Council members offered no data, no fiscal estimates, and no examples of abuse of city dollars to justify this bill. And let's be very clear about a false claim that continues to be repeated. Jacksonville cannot and will not become a sanctuary city. Let me repeat that one more time. Jacksonville cannot and will not ever become a sanctuary city. In 2019, the Florida legislature passed a statewide law banning sanctuary cities. Jacksonville will always follow state and federal laws as long as those laws are constitutional. What we need at this moment is truth, not hysteria. We've seen the disastrous result of words meant to divide and inflame. It needs to stop. You may not always agree with me, but you know I will put my love for our city first, and I will tell you the truth of where I stand. I stand for accountability, not scapegoating. I stand for transparency, not theatrics. And I stand for people, not politics. So here is what I will be doing. One amendment to this bill called for a full report on all city funding to nonprofits. That's public record. Therefore, I will direct staff to prepare that report so we can get the facts. But I want to let you know, for anybody who's wondering, that in every contract that we have with anyone, it states very clearly, the owner shall consider the employment by supplier/contractor of unauthorized aliens a violation of Section 274A of the Immigration and Naturalization Act. Talks about the violation and the cause for unilateral cancellation of the contract. Federal law, where immigration law belongs. Okay? We follow those laws. In the end, this veto is a stand for the Constitution, public health and safety, taxpayers and the economy, and our immigrant community that makes up an important part of the beautiful mosaic that is Jacksonville. We stand at a pivotal moment in this city. How we choose to govern will dictate who we will become in the coming days, months, and years. Are we a city that leads with principle or one that legislates from partisanship? Will our laws reflect fairness or be driven by distrust? Will our civic conversation rise to meet the moment with unity or give way to fear and fragmentation? These are important questions that we are answering today. This veto is not just a rejection of a bad bill. It is a declaration of who we are and who we aspire to be. It's also an acknowledgement that people are tired of the culture wars. A recent UNF poll found that only 2% of our citizens felt this issue rose to the top. They want us to focus on the issues impacting their daily lives here in our local government, like their ability to afford a home. I believe we can be better when we do it together. I really do. So I want to thank that bipartisan group of city council members who voted against this bill the first time. I ask you to stand with us once more. I also want to express my gratitude to Randy White on his last council meeting as president. Even though we have disagreed, and we've disagreed many times, we have always worked together to find common ground, and not one cross word has ever been said between the two of us. He has worked like a statesman, and I appreciate him very much. That's how we've pushed some big rocks across the finish line in this city, like hopefully this wonderful UF vote that we're going to have tonight. Because we put our love for our city first, this is why we've been successful. Love has to come first, our love for Jacksonville. I look forward to continuing the momentum that I have shared with this council, with Council President Designate Carrico. In closing, I want to start where I began. As the City Council considers my veto decision this evening, please ask yourself one more time, who does this bill help? If the answer is still silence, I hope you will listen. And now I'll take your questions. No. No, I don't have any thoughts on it. Jake, you know what? A lot of things are said. I'll deal with that when it comes. There are, as I've said so many times, I have deep respect for this council, and there are so many people on this council that work so beautifully to try to move our shared priorities forward. Then there are some that simply throw inflammatory statements and words out there simply to further a political purpose. Not many, but I just am not going to spend my time and effort responding to the flailing. I'll deal with it, whatever comes.
Sanctuary cities, that will probably come up in the debate tonight. So can you, how do you distinguish your position that this is, you do not support sanctuary does open the door to Jacksonville returning to
Because David, I've just explained to you how it doesn't. You know, everything that I've just told you, there are duplications in here of federal laws that we already follow. There is absolutely zero evidence that anyone has been in violation of that. And so to come out and throw your arms up and say that we must save our taxpayers from these terrible people, there's no evidence that this does anything besides stoke fear among our immigrant community. And that makes all of us less safe, and it does not save us money. It hurts our businesses. This has nothing to do with that inflammatory language. It is a term that is thrown out there to inflame. And that is it. So hopefully, when you take a look at all of this, you'll see what I'm talking about. It comes down to the simplest thing. Immigration law is federal law, which we will follow and have followed. But to ask our nonprofits, who are simply trying to do the good work of caring for our most vulnerable citizens, to be police, to me is asking too much, when there's no evidence that anyone is not following the process.
Three more questions. Mayor, question about a bill coming up tonight. Council introduced, Councilmember Gay introduced a resolution asking the State Ethics Commission to look into whether the hiring of the veto firm by the administration was proper. Do you support the State Ethics Commission weighing in on that question? I know that you previously said you'd run it by ethics.
Yeah, we ran it by everybody, as far as I know. And look, I don't have any problem with anybody ever asking for an ethics ruling on anything. I mean, that's something we do on the daily here, so that's fine. You know, I think that it's about making value statements. You know, truly, I ran for this office talking about love and unity and bringing people together. I am so, just like so many of our citizens that I've heard from, I'm so exhausted from the fear mongering. I really am. You know, of I do my very best not to get dragged into these culture wars because they don't belong in local government. They really don't. But sometimes you have to stand up when something is so clearly going to do damage to your citizens, to small businesses, to the health of your citizens, to the safety of your citizens. If I did not stand up, especially when it looks like there is a plausible path to getting this law, this ordinance overturned by upholding the veto, why am I here if I don't stand up for those values when I can? You know, so I would say that certainly there have been many people who have said that I should consider vetoing this bill. But there have been many others that have said, you know what, Mayor, you just don't need the stress. Just let it go without your signature this time like before. This was one that was not just duplicative like the last one. This one really would harm our local nonprofits, I believe, and really create a problem for our citizens. So if there's a path to make sure that it doesn't happen, then I'm going to do my best to get there, and the rest really is up to council.
Last question. Should the council override your veto? Are there any additional paths that you explore beyond whether lawsuits, anything like that?
I'm taking this one step at a time. Right now, I'm very hopeful that council will do the right thing. Thank you. I appreciate you.